Imagine being the invisible girl, the one everyone points at and scoffs at. Now imagine that out of nowhere, your nightmares become the reality of those who tormented you. But what no one knew was that from the shadows of that school, something much older and more vengeful was waiting for its chance. And this story, my friends, is about to change everything you think you know about justice. Anna, 16 years old and new to Carver High, was an island of shyness in an ocean of judgment. Her thick glasses and a body that didn't fit social media's beauty standards made her an easy target. Her life was a constant attempt to go unnoticed, a futile strategy against the dominant trio. Brenda, the Ice Queen, Stella, with her cruel giggle, and Louisa, the silent follower. They owned the hallways, their laughter like daggers, and their gazes stripping souls bare. On the first day, Brenda's stare at Anna was a sentence. "Look what the whale dragged into Carver," Brenda whispered, loud enough for the entire cafeteria to hear. Anna felt her cheeks burn, but the worst was yet to come. The bullying started subtly. Accidental shoves in the hallways, lost notebooks that reappeared with demeaning drawings, jokes about her lunch in the cafeteria. Each day, Anna shrank further, her world becoming a dark room. One afternoon in the bathroom, Stella cornered her. "Thought you could hide from us, fatty? This isn't the place for your kind." Stella then dumped Anna's lunchbox into the toilet, her squashed sandwich floating in the dirty water. The laughter echoed, piercing Anna more than any physical blow. Anna cried in silence, wishing the ground would swallow her whole, but what she didn't know was that right there, within the graffiti-scarred walls of that bathroom, an ancient echo of suffering watched. A shadow seemed to shift at the periphery of her vision, a slight chill on the back of her neck, as if someone stood right behind her, feeling every pang of her pain. The humiliation escalated when, during gym class, Brenda made Anna trip in front of everyone. Her body rolled across the floor, the cruel laughter of Brenda and her friends echoing through the gymnasium. Anna wanted to scream, but no words came out. She just huddled, wishing to be invisible. But what happened next changed everything. A faint, icy breeze blew, even with all the windows shut tight. Brenda's locker, leaning against the wall, creaked, and untouched, its door suddenly swung open with a jarring sound, startling everyone. Anna, for a moment, felt a dark relief, a sense that she wasn't alone in her suffering. The following weeks were a never-ending nightmare. The trio intensified their attacks. One day, Anna found her locker vandalized with spray paint, the word "whale" plastered in bold letters. She tried to clean it, tears streaming down her face, but the stain of shame was indelible. With each passing day, Anna felt more isolated, more desperate. She tried talking to the counselor, Ms. Lucia, but Brenda and her friends were daughters of influential people. "I'm sure it's a misunderstanding, Anna. Try to make new friends." "Ms." Lucia said with a forced smile, as if Anna's pain were just a common cold. The false hope of help withered and despair took over. Anna felt a knot in her throat. After a particularly exhausting day with more humiliations during break time, Stella stole Anna's homework, tore it to shreds, and threw it at her head. Anna was alone in the library, trying to redo the assignment. The school was almost empty. Suddenly, she heard a whisper, a name, Livia, and then revenge. Anna looked around, her heart pounding. There was no one. The light flickered in the hallway, and the room temperature suddenly dropped several degrees. She hugged herself, feeling a coldness that didn't come from the air conditioning. It was a shiver that ran down her spine, something more than just fear. There was a presence. The next day, during chemistry class, Anna noticed a strange detail on the lab bench. Scratches in the shape of an L that looked recently made, and the faint scent of an old floral perfume. A chill went through her. But what happened next was even more disturbing. The reagent bottle in Brenda's hands inexplicably slipped. The green acidic liquid narrowly missed Stella's eyes. Brenda swore her hand had been pushed, but no one saw a thing. Anna felt a mix of relief and dread. Was it a coincidence or something more? She had no idea who was watching her. The truth was far more terrifying. The accidents began to accumulate. On the basketball court, one of the hoops mysteriously came loose when Louisa attempted a shot, almost hitting her. In art class, Stella's easel toppled without apparent reason, ruining her work with indelible paint. Each incident was attributed to chance, to bad luck. But Anna felt something deeper. One night, while browsing an old forum about local urban legends, she found a post about Carver High. It spoke of Livia, a student who, years ago, suffered extreme bullying from the same type of clique and ended up taking her own life on the school grounds, in the very bathroom where Anna had been humiliated. The post mentioned that Livia never truly left, and that her spirit still wandered, seeking justice. Anna felt a shiver that wasn't of fear, but of recognition. At that moment, as she read, her computer screen flickered, and an old, blurry image of the school appeared, with the faded photo of a girl, a pale face with sad eyes. It was Livia. Anna felt a connection, the same pain, the same loneliness, the same school. It seemed Livia was communicating, revealing her presence. The next day, in history class, Anna sat at the same desk where, according to legend, Livia spent most of her time. A chilling whisper resonated in her ear. "I can't take it anymore." It wasn't a voice in her mind, but an external sound, as if someone was speaking right next to her. Anna quickly turned her head, but the desk next to her was empty. She felt an unmistakable chill. Later, Anna went to the bathroom and saw her reflection in the mirror. For a microsecond, the image of the pale, sad girl superimposed itself over hers. Livia? She was there. When Brenda entered with her malicious smile, the liquid soap from the dispenser ran out by itself, a huge quantity, dirtying the bully's entire hand and then her backpack on the floor. Brenda shrieked in disgust. Anna felt an invisible force in her chest, a strange warmth. Livia wasn't a threat to her. Livia was her protector. Anna began to understand. It wasn't about coincidences anymore. This was real. The signs became more frequent, more audible. Objects moved. Doors slammed shut on their own. The temperature near Brenda and her friends would drop abruptly, leaving a trail of chills and the feeling of being watched. In a literature class, as Brenda mocked Anna for her work being too deep for her shallow mind, the book Brenda held simply flew from her hands, hitting her face with force. Brenda screamed, and Anna saw a translucent blur for an instant, a slender figure that seemed to smile. This was just the beginning. The next day, during lunch, Brenda, Stella, and Louisa sat at their usual table, laughing loudly and commenting on Anna's smashed face. Suddenly, Stella's tray, which was in her hand, flipped over on its own, spilling all its contents. Macaroni with red sauce all over Brenda's white clothes. Brenda's shock and scream were immediate. The entire cafeteria went silent for a second, and then muffled laughter began to emerge. Stella, trembling, swore she hadn't let go of the tray. Louisa looked around, visibly scared. Anna felt a strange but controlled satisfaction. Livia was acting. Anna began to pay attention to the patterns. The manifestations always happened when the bullies were humiliating someone, especially her. It was a warning, a promise that the scales would be rebalanced. In the girls' locker room, Anna overheard Brenda and Stella planning a new attack, something that would publicly ridicule her. A cold shiver ran down Anna's spine, and the locker room lights began to flicker frantically. Brenda's locker burst open with a bang, and all her clothes fell onto the wet shower floor. Brenda and Stella screamed, a mix of anger and terror in their eyes. Their panic was the new melody of justice Anna was beginning to savor. She no longer felt just fear, but a growing sense that the tide had turned. That's when she realized the prom was approaching, and Brenda, Stella, and Louisa planned their grand finale. They would steal the dress Anna had dreamed of wearing, a gift from her grandmother, and display it on the school's bulletin board with the word "joke" spray painted on it. Anna accidentally discovered the plan, overhearing a snippet of conversation in the hallway. Panic set in, but quickly gave way to a chilling fury. That night, alone in her room, Anna felt Livia's presence stronger than ever. A faint floral fragrance filled the air, and Livia's image appeared in Anna's mirror, clearer now, with a determined look. "Don't let them win," Livia whispered, her voice ethereal but firm. "Show them the truth." The next day, the bullies' plan was in full swing. They stealthily entered Anna's house while she was at school, following the house plan Louisa had gotten from a cousin. But what they found was far beyond what they expected. Upon entering Anna's room, the temperature plummeted. Anna's dress wasn't there. Instead, in the middle of the room was an old yellowed photograph of a smiling Livia, wearing the same dress Anna intended to wear. Brenda picked up the photo, confused. On the back, fine calligraphy read, "Livia, prom 2005, never went." The air grew heavy. Suddenly, the bedroom door slammed shut, locking them inside. The lights flickered, and an old melancholic tune began to play, coming from nowhere. The mirrors and glass in the bookshelf began to vibrate, displaying distorted images of Livia being humiliated and crying, while the laughter of Brenda and her friends mixed with the scenes. Livia's face in the mirror twisted in fury. "You didn't learn! You never learn!" Livia's voice echoed, now not a whisper, but a scream that resonated throughout the room, making Brenda, Stella, and Louisa's ears ring. They tried to escape, but the door wouldn't open. The climax came when the photo of Livia in Brenda's hand began to burn, not with fire, but with a pulsing dark light. Livia's image in the mirror came to life, her eyes fixed on the three. Brenda's face went pale, terror consuming her. It was then that Livia revealed the true twist no one saw coming. "I am not just a spirit seeking revenge for myself," Livia's voice echoed. "I am the guardian of this school, the echo of all who suffered in silence. And you, who mock the pain of others, will pay for every tear shed." Suddenly, their cell phones lying on the floor began to ring simultaneously. It was their mothers, desperate, calling. On each screen, the same photo. Brenda, Stella, and Louisa, in moments of their lives where they were the victims of bullying, exposed on all the school's social media. A series of posts with a caption, "Today's tormentors, yesterday's victims. The school never forgets." Anna's bedroom door opened on its own, and the lights returned to normal. Inside, Brenda, Stella, and Louisa were huddled on the floor crying, their faces pale and eyes red. What they saw and heard broke them. The humiliation they had inflicted so freely was now theirs, exposed for all to see. The next day, the school was abuzz. The photos and videos spread like wildfire. The scandal of the bullies being bullied took over. Brenda and her friends were suspended and, under parental pressure, transferred to other schools. The scales of justice had finally balanced. Anna, once invisible, now walked the hallways with quiet confidence. She didn't revel in their misfortune, but she felt a heavy weight lifted from her shoulders. She was no longer alone. Livia's presence was a promise of protection for all who suffered. One afternoon in the library, Anna found an old diary, hidden among the books. It was Livia's. On the last page, a sentence: "Justice may be slow, but it never fails, and some spirits never give up." Anna looked at the page, a soft smile on her lips. She knew Livia was there, her silent guardian. And what happens when justice comes from a place where life and death meet? When the echoes of the past refuse to be silenced, and those who suffer find a voice in what cannot be seen? This is just one of the stories whispered in the hallways of this school, a school that holds secrets far darker than anyone could imagine. And if you think this was the only time Carver High revealed its secrets, well, you have no idea what's coming next. Because the truth is, in this school, the walls have ears and the dead eyes. See you in the next video, where we'll unravel another secret that will make you question everything.